What's up, YouTube? It's Ben, and in this video, I'm going to be answering all your recruiting questions in our Facebook group, Recruiter Empire. So, yes, I'm going to be scrolling through the group, literally answering your questions in real time as I see them. So, let's get right into it. All right, guys, and just like that, through the power of magical editing, we're right inside Recruiter Empire. And if you're not a part of Recruiter Empire, the Facebook group, you must be a part of it. So if you're not already, just type in Recruiter Empire, join the group, and you will be added amongst all of the members that are pending right now. So let's go through your questions, right? The point of this video is to answer your questions. Hope says, hi, Jays. Hi, guys. I'm starting my healthcare staffing agency, and I can't grasp the concept of how contracts need to be properly and legally formed. If anyone has any pointers, I greatly appreciate it. Well, okay, a couple people have answered this, and that's all cool, but let me give my answer. Healthcare contracts are one of the most complicated contracts that you need to have, especially if you're doing like per diem nurses or per diem CNAs or anything specific to healthcare, because it is such a touchy type niche where you need to be very, very up on your legalese, right? Healthcare is in that zone, right? It's not like hiring a warehouseman or hiring a forklift driver or hiring, I don't know, a paralegal or something like that. If you're hiring for healthcare, and especially if she's looking to hire and do staffing, then it's a whole different ball game as far as contracts go. So yes, it looks like staffing right here. So that's going to be a whole different ball game, and it is quite complicated. Definitely things we cover in our mentorship program. All right, let's go to a different one. Cynthia says, hello everyone. Are there any MSPs or VMS that works with warehouses? Somebody says yes. I know there are two, but in general, no, not really. There are not VMS or MSPs that are for warehouses. Generally speaking, distribution centers, logistics, things like that, generally do not have VMS, which are vendor management systems, right? They don't have those. That's generally reserved for healthcare. So you'll go through a vendor management service to basically get inside and get their contracts. Okay, cool. Drake's asking about his profile on LinkedIn, whether it looks spiffy or not. I actually answered him directly, and it is looking awesome. So, oh, by the way, we had a new training alert out. If anyone wants that, drop a comment, and I will respond to you and get you the new training that we have out. Also, if you want this training, drop a comment on this right here where we did a training with Patrick. That's another one. So questions, let's go back to these. What promotional information do you send out to potential clients via email? A flyer, white pages, PowerPoint? Okay, so you lost me at PowerPoint right there. PowerPoint, no, like definitely not. White pages, like I'm thinking you mean white paper. White paper is basically just a summary of sort of like what you do, right? Like what you've accomplished, what your agency is all about, who you serve, how you do it, all that kind of stuff. Generally a one pager, right? That's why they call it a white paper. And it's just basically a capability statement is another word for it. It's a formality. It's generally something that a lot of clients, potential clients, ask for. So, what do you send out to them as far as promotional information? You don't send a white paper out for promotional information. For potential clients, you just send them an email with a value proposition, like, here's who we are and here's why we're emailing you, right? Or here's why we're contacting you on LinkedIn. If they request a white paper, then you send them, all about you and who you are and all that kind of stuff. For those of you that are in healthcare industry, what ATS are you using? What do you recommend? You need something really robust, very robust, if you're in healthcare and you have an ATS. So you need something really, really high level that's not going to be a basic like Recruiter Flow or HubSpot, or I mean, you can start with those types of things. You can start on the low end, but you're going to want to move it up pretty quick and get something bigger. because you're going to have a lot of stuff, especially if you're doing recruiting, or I'm sorry, if you're doing staffing for healthcare. So just keep that in mind. Prince Gray Wolf. Hello, everyone. I'm new to recruiting for warehouse laborers. What sites would you most recommend that you use? Warehouse laborers are generally looking for their jobs on Indeed or Craigslist or things like that. These are what we consider tier 1 roles on the tier 3 scale. So the lower you go, the lower you want to go on Indeed and definitely like Craigslist. Those things absolutely work in the United States for sure. Slightly questionable as to if this is from Europe or not with the way laborers is typed, but let's go through here. This is just another training that we did. But anyways, hello, I'm finishing up building out my tech stack for a new recruiting agency and wondering what people recommend for a good value with great automation tools for email marketing. So there's a plethora of these guys. I mean, talking about email marketing, you've got All Pro Web Tools, which is what we push a lot of our students towards. You've got Entreport, which is a whole nother one. And we're developing a software. I mentioned this in an email to a lot of you guys. I don't know if you're on the email list, but we have a software coming out that has an email autoresponder and outbound email automation coming out. That is soon to drop. So look out for it. Let's go down here. But hello, anyone have any other sites besides All Pro to suggest for automating emails? Same question. Okay. So same, very exact question. Hi, I would like to know your views. What steps did y'all take when you're starting your recruiting agency? It's pretty general and pretty stacked question. Well, I formed my company. I got a DBA, I got an LLC, I got an EIN, got a bank account, got my domain, got my email set up, got cold email set up so I could send it out and blast people basically. And LinkedIn, I optimized my LinkedIn so that it was pitch perfect. And then I went to town and just got my client outreach on. And as soon as I got a bunch of replies, I started getting, things going. Ray has the right response. Join Ben's program. I heard nothing but good things. Thanks, Ray. Love it. Yeah, we run you through everything in the program. All right, so Justina, how do you decide how and where to niche down? I'm an independent recruiter and have been doing basically all roles at tech startups. I'm looking to effectively niche down. I would answer this question. I know there's a bunch of answers already, but here's my answer, right? I effectively would not look to niche down unless that niche is making you so much money, like too much money, to the point where it makes sense for you to niche down, right? So I think the answer is actually the reverse. It's the converse of what you're asking. Like, how should you niche out wider, right? If you're having success in that one niche, that's great, that's cool, but it's got to be mega success for you to niche down into, all roles at tech startups. I mean, like, if that's great money, keep going. If it's decent money, widen your reach. Just widen your niches. I need help recruiting healthcare workers, and I need help calling to get contracts. Yeah, that's something you got to do on your own. And that post shouldn't have been here anyways. Just as an FYI, in Recruiter Empire, we do not allow posts. That post shouldn't have been allowed for basically people soliciting for other people to work for them type of thing, right? So it's not a job posting group. It's a group about recruiting, right? All about the craft of recruiting. So in your opinion, Ryan asks, what is the biggest problem HR sourcers and recruiters face? This is a loaded question. I'm just going to take it as what's the biggest problem HR sourcers and recruiters face. I'm going to take it as kind of an issue as what's the biggest problem sourcers face. And I think the biggest problem is that they find a lot of people that maybe like seem like they fit the bill, but they don't really fit the bill, right? So as a sourcer, If you're on the business development side of things, or I'm sorry, if you're on the candidate side of the desk and you're looking to source, I think it's really important that you do your due diligence, and really, really understand who the person is that you're bringing along. I think that's really, really important. Yeah, I think, that's it. Chris answered it really great. Dealing with people, and people are unpredictable, right? Somebody once told me before I started anything ever in recruitment, people are the most unpredictable resource on planet Earth. And that is true. Jeffrey here told his whole story about starting a staffing agency. Awesome. Way to go, Jeffrey. I love it. Good stuff. Lawrence Goodman. Okay, so I need to find a new niche that is not full of companies with their own talent acquisition or internal recruitment. Are there any suggestions? I'm located in the UK, but have international experience, so geography is not an issue. Look, here's the deal. You're never going to know what companies have internal talent acquisition. You are never going to know if they have their own internal recruiters. Like there's no way to know. Like you'd have to have X-ray vision on the company to understand, or you'd have to call them up and say, do you guys have internal recruiters, before you cold email them, right? That's not going to work. So there's no exact way to figure this out. There's no way to do that, because of course we don't want companies that have HR and internal. We don't want that, right? But at the end of the day, there's no way to figure it out, really, right? I just started my recruiting agency, and I have an interview to hire someone to help with sourcing for candidates. What's the basic comp structure? A percentage of the direct hire fee from client, or a flat fee for each. Is $500 per candidate too small? Yes, that's way too small. You need to be you need to be paying out your people very well, right? So like in proper business ethics, if you're having somebody go find your candidate and source them, and they get the candidate to you, I mean, like, you need to give them something really, really close to about 45% of that fee, because ultimately you could not have made that fee unless you had them. So like, it's kind of business ethics, right? You don't want to be cheap about it, right? So just make sure that the person sourcing, as long as they're onshore, if they're offshore and the agreement has already been made that they're sourcing for candidates and they're getting paid like $1,000 a month as a VA or something like that, and they source you 2-3 candidates a week, and you make $1 million, that's great. That's a whole different story. But if they're onshore and they're working 40 hours a week, fair market value, you need to pay them. Okay. Good afternoon, fellow recruiters. I'm just getting started with my agency, and I'm wondering if you guys have any suggestions for insurance in the construction and or warehouse space for your company. Yeah, so here's the deal. You really only need insurance if you're doing staffing, okay? Staffing requires that you have insurance, because your clients, right, and or the state is going to actually ask you for a COI, certificate of insurance, basically saying that you're covered for like $2 million liability or $3 million liability or whatever they require for your state, so that if somebody gets run over by a forklift, you have $3 million to cover that, and it's not coming out of your pocket. Okay. All right. Let's see. Questions. Gigi. Okay. What is everyone's replacement guarantee policy? I have a client that's asked me to extend mine to 120 days. I feel like that's a long time, but this would be a nice placement check. Yeah. Okay. Here's the number one thing, guys, right? It's always a balance between the placement check, right? Like, how much money are you going to make, and the guarantee time length, right? Like, how long are you actually going to wait to cut that guarantee versus how much you're going to get paid out. So you have to look at those two and basically make a balance. Understand, like, hey, what's going to work here and what's not, and oftentimes, it's meet somewhere in the middle, right? Meet somewhere in the middle. If that payout is like $60,000, I would probably go with the 120 guarantee, but I would make them do it in thirds. I'd say, here, every, third, pay me a third. Every third, pay me a third, right? So I would do it in that way. So I am getting money the whole way through. Or maybe she already has a placement term set up where it's net 30 or something like that. So that she already has her money. Because once you have your money, there are no refunds in recruiting, as a reminder to you guys. All right. Let's see here. Who's got something? Okay. I want something easy, guys. I want something simple. Cleaning has been my life's work. Is that considered low-hanging fruit or more like rotting fruit on the ground? Okay, I love the way the question is posed. And it is considered low-hanging fruit. It's not rotting fruit. Cleaning is a necessary business. So literally like offices need cleaned, homes need cleaned, like industrial warehouses need cleaned. Like everything needs to get cleaned. Everything gets dirty, it all needs to get cleaned. So with that being said, yeah, 100%, it's just low-hanging fruit. You could definitely go after it, get a lot of volume, and put some janitors in place, hire some janitors, make some good money. Where do you all find electrical engineers? This is where I would headhunt on LinkedIn. So I would go to LinkedIn and I would search, maybe using some Boolean, potentially, if you know how to do that. We'll do a video on that soon. But aside from that, I would go on LinkedIn and I would look for electrical engineers there. They're not sitting around waiting on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, on Indeed. You have to go to them. They are tier 3, right? The electrical engineers are tier 3. Okay. What are the job boards you all use to find candidates other than Indeed and LinkedIn? Well, there's Career Builder, there's Monster. I mean, you have all of those other ones, right? But like ZipRecruiter and all that kind of stuff, they're generally not that popular. They don't work that well. That's why everyone talks about LinkedIn and Indeed. Like, that's why. Like, why do you think we're talking about that all day long? You know what I mean? So that's that. Happy Thursday. Okay, since I started my agency, I have been using LinkedIn for client acquisition, finding leads, etc. I was wondering if there are any ACQ tools out there other than LinkedIn. Thanks in advance. Yes and no. There are and there aren't. You just got to find out. You just kind of have to look through it. So I mean, look, Sales Navigator is going to be your best friend all day. That's all I can tell you. Okay. Let's see. I currently own a staffing whoa, currently own a staffing agency. One of my contracts pays me 33 an hour per W2 employee for each hour an employee works. My profit margin after paying my employees is 11 an hour. Would you say that's a good cut for me, or should I be taking a higher or lower profit margin? Open to suggestions. I would say take that margin, and that's like totally okay right now. But I would say if you can get more volume, right, then your margin's okay. All right, $11 an hour as your cut, your margin's good, and you can keep it there. If your volume is sinking and shrinking, right, then you need to up your cut, right? Because you need to balance, right? It's a mathematical equation, right? For every head that you put in to work, right, you need to get more money out of them. And if you only have a few heads, like 5 heads that you have deployed in your staffing operation, you need to be getting more money out of them every single time. All right, let's wrap it up and do a couple other questions. Hey, if you haven't checked out this video, check it out. Super, super important. Who specializes or has experience in recruiting and finding great candidates for law firms, companies? Awesome. Okay. So looks like a bunch of people do. Sweet. Let me find one more here. One more. Let me find one that's suitable. something we haven't covered before. Seeing some doubles here. Oh yeah, if you haven't checked out this video, check it out. Let's see. Okay, new to the group. Thanks, Ben Nader, for the amazing platform. You're welcome. I'm into IT technology, recruiting, and staffing from the past 15 years with tons of candidate pool. Would love to connect with others. Great. That's really, really cool. Again, the group is not meant for splits or solicitations, so just be sure that you're not coming in just to, do that sort of thing. We're really not meant for, that type of deal. Not a job board. This is a group about recruiting and the craft. All right, check it out. For casual and temp hiring, what's the best way to charge the client? I currently charge a fixed one-time fee for casuals, but does this work for every client? No, it does not work for every client. Every client is going to have their own unique, specialized needs, and they're not going to go with this one-time fee that you have. They're absolutely going to go with the standard, which is basically paying a margin, right? A margin bill rate that you bill the client per hour that your candidate works for them. And then that's that. And you bill them net 30 and that's how it goes, right? So that's that question right there. Congratulations. This Crystal just got her first contract signed. Super, super congrats on that. And hey, guys, that's everything I got for you. I just wanted to answer some questions in the Facebook group itself. Hopefully this was helpful. I'll do more videos. Drop in the comments if this was helpful. If this actually helped you out and you enjoyed this, or you have more questions that you want me to answer, just drop them in the comments and I will not be afraid to just go in there and answer all those questions for you guys. I love helping you out. I love making impact. And so I will see you guys next time.